Story 1. Currently going through a divorce. She is a very kind woman, but we have grown apart. When I asked her for quality time and connection, she did not make any effort. After waiting for months for her to make an effort, I decided to move out. She is devastated, and I feel sad about how things turned out. But if I am not worth even one dinner date or a night out, then I am done. I have moved out and moved on. Story 2. She tried to cover up her methamphetamine use by accusing me of attempted murder. Fortunately, the police did not believe her because she had called them 3 days in a row prior. I am now a single father to a newborn. Story 3. A deceitful person who relapsed and caused chaos in my life because I was collateral damage in his internal struggle. Story 4. Overall disrespect for me. Loved who I was when we were dating but expected me to be the opposite once we got married. Compared me to others, tore down my self-worth, and devalued my accomplishments. Wasn't there for me at all when my mom died and hated that I wasn't back to normal fast enough. It all accumulated over the years we were together before enough was enough. Story 5. I gave him everything and loved him fiercely. He lost his job, started drinking every day, and lied about it, even hiding empty beer cans in my ceiling tiles. I realized how manipulative he was and kicked him out of my place. I still miss him but know that I did the right thing. I definitely loved him more than he loved me. I don't miss the little comments that made me feel bad or the way he isolated me from friends. Story 6. He told me he had feelings for his ex, broke up with me, used me as his therapist for months, got back with his ex, and asked for her permission to contact me. He blamed me because I didn't chase after him. Thank goodness it was a long-distance relationship. Story 7. She was understandably upset with me for accumulating around $50,000 in gambling debt. Unlike in the movies where one borrows from loan sharks, I was using regular loans and credit cards for it behind her back over the years. Story 8. My ex was unstable. She cheated on me and threatened to harm herself, so I tried to convince myself that I could get over it. But I couldn't. During that time, she became controlling and manipulative, going through my phone and laptop, and telling me to stay away from my friends. I realized it was time to leave when she started talking about engagement. I decided to put my foot down, and she ended up in a psychiatric ward. She deceived me about 2 weeks later on Twitter. Story 9. My partner developed paranoid schizophrenia 9 years after we had been together and started to believe I was not her partner but really a spy paid to pretend to be her partner to spy on her. I stayed for 3 years trying to get her help, but it got to the point where she called the police on me, saying she was scared of me and locked me out of our flat, so I had no option but to leave. Story 10. She wanted to focus on religion and abstinence until marriage. We only dated for 8 months, and I wasn't ready to get married after such a short time. Not being intimate wasn't what I had planned when we started dating, so I decided to leave. Story 11. I was exhausted. I understand that we need to explain a few things to our partner, such as what we like and what upsets us. However, after a while, it becomes exhausting, and you start to question whether they are doing this on purpose to get rid of me. It's frustrating because I would never waste a precious moment with someone I don't like or love. I would immediately end the relationship respectfully, without wasting time on negative actions. Story 12. Have you ever seen the show You? I dated someone like that in real life. He hacked my phone and all my social media and financial accounts, scouring through my entire message history from 2011. He lied about his addiction to pornography and soliciting sex workers, ran background checks on all my friends, drove past my house in the middle of the night, and accused me of sleeping with my neighbor, which was completely unfounded. He convinced me to move in with him, then dumped me and kicked me out 2 weeks later when I had nowhere else to go. Yet, 8 months later, he continues to send me random text messages from unknown numbers, accusing me of being promiscuous when I was completely loyal and devoted to him during our relationship. After it ended, I asked him if he could offer any constructive feedback on how I could improve, and he said, "No, you're good. I'm just bad at relationships." He is 37 years old, a senior cybersecurity analyst, and is working on a master's degree, yet this is the behavior I received. Unbelievable. Story 13. We lost a lot of communication, We did not implement or put effort into improving it when we went from seeing each other several times a week to long distance and seeing each other twice a year. Story 14. His debilitating anxiety affected me deeply. I wanted to learn how to help him, but he did not give me a chance. He just pushed me away and disappeared. Story 15. She cheated on me with someone random while we were out together. We got back together, but then she ended the relationship a week later for her ex after 1 year together. Story 16. I liked her. Don't get me wrong, but she was not a great person. She would lie to me. I was basically just there as a replacement for her last breakup, filling the void of not having a partner. So I broke up with her and we got into a fight and that was the end. Story 17. I have no idea and I'm still confused. It was just a sudden change. One day she was completely in love with me, and the next she wanted nothing to do with me. She said I didn't do anything wrong, and I don't think I did either. But she's gone, and all her feelings for me are gone too. It happened overnight. I have no idea what caused it. Story 18. Her infidelity. She had many reasons to end it without resorting to that, but she never gathered the courage to do so. She had to destroy it. She was unsure of who she really was now. Story 19. She was completely different from what I remembered the last time we were close. It not only annoyed me but also disgusted me. She acted negatively the entire time we were together, never once stopped complaining, and was generally a negative person. So I broke up with her as soon as possible. Right after that, I had an experience with her that I had never had before that night, and I'm glad I did because it was perfect. I consider it my payback for the dinner she ruined for me the night before. Story 20. I experienced a mental breakdown and made a mistake, although it was forgivable. He didn't love me enough to stay with me. I remember a few months ago, I asked him if I could come over, and he responded, "If you want." Looking back, that was a sign that I loved him more than he loved me. Story 21. She wanted to take her anger out on me, and when I told her it wasn't okay to do that, she would grab a blanket like a child and lock herself in a closet. Somehow, not allowing her to abuse me made me the horrible one. Story 22. A series of events began with long distance, followed by distrust, infidelity, and a terrible toxic cycle. Story 23. I was emotionally unavailable and manipulative. In the end, I broke up with her because I was moving away from our university and thought I would be overwhelmed by romantic opportunities. It turned out that I was undateable, and she quickly found someone else, someone much more respectful, to ask her out. That was around 40 years ago, and I have made significant progress in my recovery since then. Story 24. The way we communicated was not effective. She did not appreciate my lack of communication, and I was about to enter school for the next 10 years. Therefore, I made the decision not to let her experience that. Story 25. We didn't get along. We stopped lying to ourselves and just saw it for what it was. No one did anything wrong. We simply wanted to be in a committed relationship. Story 26. I discovered I was the other woman in my nearly year-long relationship. I ended things immediately and removed him from all my social media. I am staying single for now and will likely focus on dating women, which has worked out much better for me in the past. Story 27. His mother passed away shortly before we started dating, and he does not have siblings or other family members. We are in our mid-20s. I fell too quickly into an intense supporting role instead of properly getting to know each other. He was often disassociated and tried to be a good boyfriend but frequently checked out. When the dust settled, I realized we were quite incompatible, and he had a lot of pent-up anger that had not been processed. He started smoking a lot of marijuana and broke up with me via text unexpectedly. He regretted the breakup and tried to win me back months later. I miss him deeply, and it hurts not to speak to him anymore, but I know there is no point in going back and prolonging it. I want to believe things could have been different with better timing, but I really think they would have ended sooner had we not been bonded by trauma for a year. It's been hard to realize how much energy I spent on him, although I regret nothing. I'm glad I was able to be with him through a difficult time. Story 28. She went back to rehabilitation for anorexia. We dated 6 years ago and watched her go in and out of rehabilitation for 4 years. There were 4 years of not knowing if she would wake up, not knowing if I would come home and find her dead. Anorexia has a very high death rate for those who have experienced it for multiple years. Eventually, for my own sanity, we had to break up. She was hospitalized 6 times in 4 years, only to return at a healthier weight and promptly lose it again. 6 years later, we met up and she looked as healthy as I had ever seen. We got back together and just like that, within months, she was back in rehabilitation and I felt terrible. She lied about how often she had been in rehabilitation while we were apart, and I happened to catch her at a good weight, which was probably planned by her. I had a new job coming, moving to a different state, a huge life change, and I just couldn't deal with all of that chaos along with her situation. So we had to break up. I miss her. She misses me but understands she can't bring that sickness into my life. Story 29. I started developing serious contempt for him because we had the same arguments repeatedly, and the disappointment just kept growing. He never thought I would leave because he had me locked in for 10 years, and I was about to marry him. He didn't believe I had it in me to walk away. I remember him saying, "At least I have friends. Who do you have?" He would get drunk by himself and try to lie to me about it when he was obviously intoxicated. The writing was on the wall. He was only going to get worse if I married him, and I was going to lose myself completely if I did. I left in 2023 and haven't talked to him or seen him in almost a year. It was the best decision I ever made. I got rid of him and regained my sense of self, lost 40 pounds, and have never felt better about myself. It's never too late, people. Story 30. I blame myself, but I am not sure. I later heard that there is something new called a college husband. That's all. I knew this is who I was for her. Story 31. He was delusional and believed things about me that were not true. I stayed for a while and endured the abuse and violence because I loved him and knew I had done nothing wrong. I tried to walk away for the 10th time and he broke my leg. Story 32. Complacency on my part affected my career trajectory. She was not perfect, but the responsibility is primarily mine. Story 33. She needed space, which was strange because she said she never wanted to leave my side. I guess we know who loved whom more. Story 34. They tried to convince me to have a foursome, and when I said I wasn't interested, they decided to do it anyway while I was asleep on the couch upstairs. Story 35. We grew apart, and the significant age gap became an important factor for me after a while. I was about 10 years younger, and it often felt like I was being treated as if I were not intelligent at times. Story 36. Well, I don't know. She has many reasons why, and all of them are unfounded. Apparently, someone from college was being immature and spreading rumors, telling her I cheated on her. I told her I never cheated because I hardly ever went out, only to see her. So how could I cheat? Next, I was spending time with family on Boxing Day, as you do, but she asked me to go on a date, and I said no because I was with family. Then, a few days later, I saw her with another guy on Instagram. She deleted the pictures of us from her page, and when I asked who he was, she said he was just a friend. I was so heartbroken. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.